Hello YouTube Nation! I'm solo today. This is a different type of video. We're not going to really do a review. We're going to talk about, well I guess not I'm going to talk about a gamble that I took here recently. So Becca and I, we ended up going to Guitar Center over in Louisville. I had never purchased anything from Guitar Center and went over there just to look around, see what it was all about on a day we didn't have really a lot to do. I walked by, had no idea of what we were going to buy or even look for at that point. So I walked by, and on the ground there is a 2016 Hummingbird. That is a Gibson Hummingbird that's sitting on just a regular old guitar rack, and I've never wanted a Hummingbird. Pretty guitars, but I've never really had the desire to, let's go buy a Hummingbird today. So we end up walking past it, and it had, I believe, a $999.99 price tag on it. So first thought, since these are $2,500 to $2,800 guitars, is, well, what's wrong with it? So I picked the guitar up, look at the neck. Lo and behold, the neck, and I am not a tech-savvy guitar player at all. I've played guitar for 20 years, but I don't know how to fix them all that much. I know how to change a string, that's about it. But even I could tell that the neck looked like a roller coaster ride. So we're over at the Louisville Guitar Center, and I end up asking a little bit about it, and they're like, yeah, it's a piece of crap. They're probably going to throw it away. You know, it's just sitting out here because it was a holiday weekend, I think, and they're just trying to get somebody to buy it. Well, $1,000 wasn't going to happen because it didn't. I mean, just for that, that's not what it's going to be. I ended up picking it up and playing it, and it actually was in tune, which was the weird thing for a neck that was that crooked. It stayed in tune, it played great, the neck felt great, it felt great except for the dip on certain spots and on the neck where it was curved. So I end up asking, what's the best you'll take on it? So roadblock number one, I get shut down. They're like, the manager is not in and nobody here can do anything for you on the price. All right, well, when's the manager come in? I think this was a Saturday or a Sunday, I can't remember, but he'll be in on Monday. I was still teaching at this time, so on my break, I had this whole thing planned out. All right, I'm going to offer this amount of money, and let's go this, that way, and everything else. And I call, and I'm ready to do some negotiating. He's not in today. He'll be in tomorrow. Oh, okay. Are you sure? Because I've asked twice now. Yes, he'll be in tomorrow at 12 o'clock. So fast forward to the next day, and I end up getting a hold of him. I said, hey, do you still happen to have that Gibson Hummingbird bird on the floor? He's like, yeah, it's crappy. I'm like, well, what's the story about it? Well, we've had it in our back. It came from the Gibson manufacturer. It came from the Gibson factory that way. It was shipped to us this way. They wouldn't return it. He was telling me the whole story. It was kind of him hawing around. So he said that it sat in the back room for quite a while, and they just threw it out there to do something. Cool. So we get down to the negotiations of it, and I'm like, well, how about $300 for it? And he was like, well, how about $500? So I'm at $500 for a Gibson Hummingbird at this point. My thought process behind it, it comes with the original hard shell case, had a pickup in it, and it had good tuning keys on it. I figure for those three things, I'm at least close to my money back. So I knew a friend of mine, actually I'd never met him yet, but at the time I taught with his wife, and I'd been following him on Facebook, and Brian at Red Strings Guitarworks. And I was like, he builds guitars, maybe I can shoot a deal with him. So I end up calling, and as you'll see through the pictures here, Brian did extensive work. He had to refret it, take the take the neck. Well, he ends up popping it off looking at the truss rod, and this is where it gets above my head. But the truss rod is like out of room or out of something, so he had to put something else in and all this. So I'm sitting here thinking, oh my gosh, I should have never have done this. I spent $500. I'm going to spend $2,000, and I could have bought a brand new one. So the funny thing about this is that Brian takes it, has it for, I don't know, maybe a month, 2 months. Well, pandemic happened, so that was a lot of the problem, is that, you know, you don't get a lot of time to travel. All this work is just done, and then lo and behold, Brian comes back and says, hey, your guitar's like new, neck is straight, everything is great on it, and I can't be more thrilled with actually playing it and the sound of it, which you'll hear in a second. But big shout out to Brian at Red String. I mean, killed it. Did an awesome job on it. When I got it back, it's played. I've been playing it around the house for a couple weeks now, and maybe a week. But it's been nothing but just great to play it. So, kind of the cool part about this story is everybody looks at Guitar Center as kind of Walmart for musical instruments. That's actually kind of true. But even at Walmart, you can find pretty cool deals if you kind of know what you're looking for and you get in there on a good sale or whatnot. Did I get lucky? Yeah, I got a whole lot lucky, because I don't know what I was looking at. Now the funny thing is, I paid $500 out the door for a case, the guitar. It came home with me, $500 out the door. Brian charged a reasonable price. It was $500, and so 5 plus 5 in my young mathematical terms, that's $1,000, and it is an astonishing $2,500 guitar. I did switch some things out myself. I replaced the tuning keys. I put those old style Gibson tuners on it, and I took the terrible pick guard off of it that you'll see in a picture, and I put a replica Hummingbird pick guard on it, because if you have a Hummingbird, I think you should probably have a Hummingbird pickup or a pick guard on it. But moral of the story is that when you're in these places, I mean, ask some questions, especially start hitting if you ever find anything or if you need anything. There are a whole lot. Brian does great work. I'll probably never have another human being touch my guitars as long as Brian does work on them. And he's just small business. He works out of his garage in the basement of his house, does a great job, builds guitars, builds awesome guitars, fixes, he's set up, I don't know, 5, 6 of my guitars. I mean, perfect every time. Customer, you know, just support with me, calling me, kept me updated all the time, said, hey, there's this, we have a problem here, what do you think about it? And it was just kind of a cool thing. So it's awesome to be able to spend $500, help out and have small business in Louisville, help get a guitar reborn to where this guitar may have been in a dumpster. They may have smashed it and just said, hey, you know, we're gonna get rid of it. So really, this is just a cool little pictorial and a vlog, really, of how a terrible $1,000-esque guitar at Guitar Center turned into an awesome guitar that sounds like this.